Hey, what's up guys? Frontier Films here, and in today's video we're going to be talking a lot about the topic of movies. I'm mainly doing this because of my short film series. It's just something I've been doing for the last week, over a week now, and I think it would just be an appropriate topic to go through. Before we start the video though, I just really wanted to say thank you to everyone who has been watching my videos, my short series, as well as my social media accounts like my Instagram and my TikTok. I do really appreciate it, guys. So I just want to say thank you for that, and I am really enjoying what I'm doing. So I really appreciate that people are taking a liking to something that I also enjoy creating for everybody. Oh, and that's another thing. I just recently created a new TikTok account, so I'll be putting the account name and the link in the description below. And if you guys want to check that out, as well as my Instagram page, I would love to, and I'd love for you guys to check that out, because I honestly would love for everyone to know what they feel about my work, and honestly it makes me feel great at the end of the day. All right, now let's get into the video. So I'm going to be making a top 5 today, and I wouldn't say it would be my top 5 favorite directors, well, at least in the order that I have them in, just because I don't know, the movies that I have them in are probably not the same as what I would have for my favorite directors, at least in the order. So I don't think I'm going to categorize it as that, nor do I think I'm going to categorize it as my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I couldn't just put my top 5 into a list. Like, there's so many movies out there that I just absolutely love and adore that I can't just put every single movie that I've seen into a top 5 list and say those are the best ones, because there's just so many out there that I love that just, every story has something meaningful, and every story has something unique about them that I like. So there's no way I could do that in this category. So I think the best way to put this top 5 list would be probably, I guess, the top 5 best, most watchable rewatchable movies, at least that I've seen recently. All right, so let's get into it. At the top 5 spot, this did take a little bit of thinking, but I feel like this one ultimately belongs at the top, at least at the number 5 spot. So at number 5, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna say it's gonna be Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners. This movie was absolutely insane. So the movie's about 2 different families, and both of those families lose their youngest daughters, who have both been suspected of being kidnapped. Just because the police aren't doing it as much as they want, the father of the one family takes matters into his own hands. While he is doing this and trying to get the other family's father to help, the best police detective in all of the police department is working on trying to find this perpetrator. Oh, is this movie freaking good. God, it has such eerie, dark tones to it. So uneasy feeling when you watch this movie. It feels so real that it makes you feel like that this could almost happen at any time in your life. And it's overall a really big eye-opener. And the story itself is super tragic, so anybody who has kids who is to watch this movie who hasn't watched it yet, you're definitely in for something else, because this movie does take a toll on you, especially if you have something to connect with. But in the end, it really is a truly chair-gripping thriller that keeps you completely on the edge of your seat, wanting to see what is going to happen and hoping for the best, that everything is going to come just falling in place for these families, and ultimately leaving them with a happy ending. But really, this movie was very well made, and honestly, I think it's one of, if not Denis Villeneuve's best movie ever created. Even with his more later films like Blade Runner and Dune, I honestly still put this one as number 1 for him. All right, for the number 4 spot, this one did take a little bit of thinking. I was gonna put it in the number 3 possibly, but I did put some thought into it, and I do feel like it does belong in number 4, and it's an appropriate place for it. So the number 4 spot is going to go to Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. Interstellar is about an ex-NASA pilot who's sent on a mission to pretty much find a whole new planet and a whole new home for the human race because the planet Earth that they're staying on is dying. The only problem with this mission really though is the fact that the pilot has a family at home that he has to leave behind in order to do this mission. And the sad thing is that he can possibly never see his family again unless he does find this planet and finds it quickly. So he's going through the mental anguish of possibly losing his family while going through this mission, and it shows you through a tremendous journey. So basically, this movie is one of the biggest influences and probably one of the greatest achievements when it comes to at least space and scientific visuals. My God, was this movie breathtaking. The visuals were just absolutely astonishing, especially because of how they made them. A lot of these were actually rendered to be scientifically accurate to make it look like, for example, the black hole in Interstellar looks very, very accurate to what it would actually look like in real life. And they did that using scientific methods in order to find this out. So that's a really, really crazy, really mind-blowing fact. Speaking of mind-blowing, the ending. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but oh my goodness, I would just be in total shock if this were to ever happen to me. So that's why this is at number 4. Really great film. All right, the number 3 spot, I feel like this is a really good and at least a comfortable spot for where I want this movie on the list. At least after I thought about it, I do feel comfortable putting this in the number 3 spot. And the number 3 spot is going to go to Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master. Honestly, I was contemplating if I was even going to put this movie on the list. I was going to put one of his other films on the list. But this is one that really catches my eye every time, and I'm not 100% sure why, but there's something about this film that just drags me and just pulls me in every time I watch it. So The Master is about a former World War II veteran and Navy SEAL who has psychological issues and is ultimately struggling to fit in with society, being accepted by others, and as well as trying to find his way back home to his homeland sweetheart. Buddy finds this group of people who call themselves the Movement. And the Movement, what they do is they take him in and they show him that he is welcome there and that they do appreciate him being there. But you do later find out that they're trying to use him and his mental illness in order to study so that they can fix later on, using these healing processes that they have in this religious belief that they claim. So overall, this movie has phenomenal acting. Like, Joaquin Phoenix was crazy in this film. If you thought he was good in Joker, you need to watch him as Freddie Quill in The Master. Holy, does he just lose himself completely into this character. And Philip Seymour Hoffman does a really good job as well, but he can't compare to Joaquin here. He's absolutely insane. But the both of them do put up an amazing pair together, and the chemistry between these two characters they're absolutely phenomenal. Not to mention that every single scene that you see in this movie looks like it's a piece of art. Every single shot, every movement looks like it was so intricately detailed to look and tailored and just to look a certain way, and honestly, it's beautiful. Not to mention the lighting as well. It does help with the visuals, but the lighting alone deserves to be praised itself. Like, I was seriously blown away when I saw this movie for what it really is. It's beautiful. All right, and in the number 2 spot is going to have to go to Django Unchained. And oh my God, is this just one of those films that makes you want to jump out of your seat the entire time. So Django Unchained is about a slave who is freed by a bounty hunter. And this bounty hunter needs this guy named Django, the slave, in order to find these wanted men who are in hiding. Luckily, he does know who their real identity is, so he can point them out to him. Fortunately for the bounty hunter and Django's sake, Django is really good at using a firearm, so now the two of them are going on different bounties, hunting down different men, collecting money in order to find Django's wife that he lost a long time ago due to different sales and different purchasing. Oh my god. Now, Quentin Tarantino has had some amazing writing in the past, but there's just something about his writing in this movie mixed with a Western film. I would have never guessed, but this movie is and probably still is my favorite Western of all time, still to this day. There was amazing writing, and I mean the writing was top notch. I give that like an A plus S tier. It's way up there. Another thing would be the super awesome acting in this movie. The acting was awesome. Like, I mean, seriously. Like, from going from Christoph Waltz to Leonardo DiCaprio's Calvin J. Candy, or Samuel Jackson's Steven. Oh my god, all amazing roles. They all play their part 150%. They knew what they were doing, and they knew exactly what they were supposed to do, and you can just tell you can just tell that this was the film that they all really were focused on. Not to mention the hilarious, witty humor in this film. He's always been funny with his films, Quentin Tarantino, but there's something about this movie where he got a little extra creative with, especially the comedy in it, I think. And honestly, I feel like is probably one of his best, if not arguably his best movie. I am only putting it instead of something like Pulp Fiction, for example, for my favorite, just because this movie is so rewatchable. I can watch it over so many times and never get bored with it. And honestly, it's altogether one of the most like fun, action-packed films I've seen in a long time. All right, so the number one spot. This one, I was actually even contemplating with the second spot. But I did think about it, and really, the more and more I watch the movie, the more and more I love it every time. And that's why I have to put this one at number one, because as good as Django is, this one, it's just, I feel like it knocks it out of the park in almost every situation. But really, I feel like the number one spot should go to Goodfellas, directed by Martin Scorsese. So Goodfellas is about a kid who grows up in the 1950s in New York, which is pretty much the heart and the prime age for all of gangsters. He does everything he can to become a gangster himself once growing up in the city, and even working with some of the gangsters. Once he does achieve this, though, when he's an older man, he does realize that it doesn't last long, because the world is ultimately just changing around him and evolving, really putting wise guys like himself in a situation where he is constantly being watched and constantly being followed by the police for almost every activity he does. Oh my god. Now, this movie is almost the heart of cinema when I watch it every time. Some people might argue it's The Godfather. Some people might say it's something totally different. But really, to me, this one seriously shines when it comes to cinema, and when someone says one of the greatest movies of all time, this one definitely comes up in mind. So, honestly, it's mainly in the directing, the legendary directing in this movie. There are so many great, fantastic things about this film. If it's not the soul in it, the true visuals of this movie, it could be the cinematography, it could be the acting, it doesn't matter. This film has put every single aspect when it comes to making a movie, and made it into one movie and made it great. His serious passion for making these films, especially when it comes to making something that's so personal to him. But seriously, the fantastic acting in this movie really stood out as well, especially from Joe Pesci and from Robert De Niro. Like, those two especially really stood out to me. Not to mention, this film is just so extremely detailed. You going down to just little camera movements, down to the lighting, down to certain things that people say. It's so intricate and so detailed, and it's honestly, this movie is a piece of art. And not to mention, when I watch this movie, I feel like I get something out of it every time. Like, I learn something new every single time I watch this movie. If it's not just finding something I didn't see before, or understanding something that I didn't even hear before. But whatever it is, this movie has something new for me every time, and I'm always waiting to see what's in store when I'm watching this film. Alright, so there you have it, folks. That's going to be my top 5 films for at least the best films I've been watching recently and over repeat. So yeah, this has been the video I wanted to create. If you want to see more of these top 5 videos, just write a comment in this section below. Write me on social media, that's on Instagram or on TikTok if you want to. If you want to see more of these, if you want to give me a suggestion, I would be glad to listen to it, and I'd be glad to hear and possibly even perform whatever you guys want me to do. I will be making more videos in the future, not just about film, but more on the basics of film, certain elements of the film. I did talk about this in my last video, but it's something I just want to remind you guys because I haven't been posting a lot of it at the moment. So I just wanted to let you know all of that stuff will still be happening in the future. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. And if you guys want to watch more, stay tuned, and I will definitely have some more for you. Thank you, everyone, and have yourselves a great day.